So how you making out?
Good, good. You know what? I just got done working out.
Oh
I'm
yeah?
working out. Yeah, I'm working out every day. And since the operation on the back, I had uh, was restricted for quite a while. Now I'm back. There's no pain, and the only thing you have to do right now, you can't socialize. So working out is a beautiful thing. Makes you feel better. You
Oh
know,
yeah. That's the
and
truth.
I want to get ready. So when the summer comes, July comes, I want to take you out on a fishing trip,
I would love that. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So what are you doing for workouts? You doing just stuff
man.
in house there?
Okay, yeah. So what I do is, um, first of all, one day I do the upper, do the with the rubber bands. You have the right resistance. It's a good workout.
Sure.
I do the whole upper body, and then this morning it was a lower body. So I climbed 420 steps. Okay, good for the legs.
Sure.
Um, about 50 push-ups and 60 sit-ups. So
Yeah.
that's every other day. That's what I do. So it keeps me in pretty good shape now.
Yeah, that's great. Good for you. Not too many people your age doing that kind of workout, so I'll give you all the props in
Well,
the world for that.
yeah, you know what? When you get older, I think that's where a lot of people are missing. They
I
they
agree.
go to on a diet, they walk. But as you get older, you lose muscle tissues, and once you do this, then you become a different person. So, but if you keep up with the resistant exercises, then that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen that with my grandparents. Both of them, once they stopped, just doing basic fundamentals and moving, it's almost like you age at, warp speed. You just we're designed to move, and once you
Oh,
stop,
oh,
it's the aging process is sped up.
yeah, you lose. As you get older, you lose that. Then once you lose that, then you know what? Like for an example, we're talking about going offshore fishing, right?
Yeah,
80 miles out. 4 or 5 months ago, there's no way I wanted to. I was equipped physically to go 80 miles offshore. Now that I'm working out, I can't wait till we get going. That's a big difference between the two. Yeah, good
yeah, no
stuff.
kidding. The other thing you got going for you is your attitude. You seem to have, well, every time I associate with you and talk to you, always a really strong, positive mental attitude. I know that's a big part of your philosophy. We've talked about it before. Maybe you want to share a little bit about that and how powerful it is.
Yeah, they, you know, positive attitude is important for me, and they're well lived. So if you feel lousy, you don't feel good about yourself or what's going on, that's what you're going to attract the whole day, and that you become miserable, you don't have fun. But when you have a positive attitude, then things change. Good things happen to you. And a lot of people asking me, say, well, how do you do this? Well, I tell them you have to have a vision. And then right away they say, what do you mean by vision? Well, it's not how much you can wait. I mean, how much you can make, or different things in life is what is it, who you could work for, but really the question is, what is it that I love to do
Yeah,
myself? What is it? And that becomes your vision. And then once you have that vision, then you could dream about it. Because
right.
right now there's not much you can do about it. But if you dream about it and you get pumped, you get excited, then everything changes around you.
Yeah, no, that's so true because I think a lot of people get wrapped up into this negative way of thinking, and I think at the very least, if you can just not think negatively and just think neutrally, that's a win. But I think going to your back to your point on the vision, I think a lot of people are chasing whether it's the money or they're chasing the wrong vision, and it's hard to be fulfilled and it's hard to really truly be happy and positive when you're chasing the wrong thing. I think for you, what I see is you're such a good spirit and you're always helping people, and that must be part of your vision, right? Is
Yeah.
always making people feel better about themselves, always making an impact in the community. And and it's almost just becomes natural for you.
Hmm. You know, and one thing I want to share, which for me it's very important, is you have to ask for it. It's not enough just to have a vision because
Right.
nothing happens, but ask for. And for me, is I ask the universe, you know, and it gets a little bit deeper here, but I ask the universe for what I want to accomplish about my vision, whatever.
Mhm.
And then once I ask for, stop it. For me to worry about how it's going to happen, let you know how it's going. Then you walk around every day, and you know you're not worried about how it's going to happen because you know the universe is going to take care of this. And as you move forward, situation and people you don't even know exist will come into your life and help you realize your vision. It's a beautiful way to live. Love it. That's how I live.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'm glad you
awesome.
brought that up because I've recently learned about really speaking to the universe and speaking out your ideas and your vision, because thinking it is not enough. And to your point, there's something powerful about either writing it down or communicating it to the universe. It's almost like you've imprinted it into the DNA of the universe, and then therefore you're attracting what you're putting out there. So I can
Yeah.
absolutely relate to that. And just in the last few years that I've really started putting that into practice, and I've seen it work firsthand. I think before that, I was just naive to think that if you believed, you believed enough and you worked hard enough, you can manifest this all. And I think you can to some degree, but there's something extremely powerful about putting it out there verbally and communicating it and trying to get that energy back into your world. So,
Sure.
yeah,
And again, the secret is we have to ask. If we don't ask, nothing happens.
right.
That's powerful stuff. Yeah.
It really is, and I would say that's one of the secrets that most people don't really tap into. I think people are afraid to ask, or they're shy, or whatever the barrier is that they're not asking. If they're worried about the answer no. But I agree. I've learned this a lot lately. Just all you can do is ask. That's all you can do, and whether it
Yeah.
manifests or not. I mean, but if you don't ask, you'll never receive. So it's an important
Mhm.
important
I yeah,
value.
you know, I read a good quote about this. It's about jumping. You see a woman jumping off the cliff in the ocean. It's about 100 feet deep, right? And um, and the quote is, "If you don't jump in life, you're going to live the same way you're living now." That's powerful stuff, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
So you ask, you take risk, and you jump, and beautiful things happen.
Yeah, no, that's so true, because I think a lot of people get wrapped up into this negative way of thinking, and I think at the very least, if you can just not think negatively and just think neutrally, that's a win. But I think, yeah, you know what, and I think a lot of people struggle with that because when you jump, you're jumping into the unknown, right? And people fear the unknown, but life is risky, whether you play it safe or you don't. And I think
Sure.
taking these leaps of faith and taking these risks are really what opens up and unlocks these opportunities and these doors that might have
Mhm.
never been there in the first place. So couldn't agree with you more on that.
Sure.
It's powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it takes me back quickly. It takes me back when I was a kid. You know, I was, well, a kid, I was 17 years old and I got drafted by the Bruins. Okay. And I had to go to Niagara Falls to play junior hockey. And I picked up my suitcase all by myself. I went on the train, couldn't speak English. I got on the train and went to Niagara Falls. And quite a few people asked me, how did you manage to do this? You know, you could have stayed home and do different things and play it safe. But, you know, number one thing was because my vision was to play the National Hockey League. And once you have a vision like this, you're willing to do anything that comes in front of you to make it happen to get there. And it's far, you know, it's far for stuff. If I would have played it safe, I would have, nothing would have happened as far as sports is concerned. I wouldn't be talking to you today.
That's
How
right.
about that?
Well,
Yeah.
it's worked out well for you.
Oh yeah, of course, of course, of course. You know, so beautiful things happen in life, and you know, it's a have a vision, you know, and have a positive mind, and just move on. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the rest. I keep repeating myself. It's worth it. Don't worry about the rest. How it's going to happen. It's not our concern how it's going to happen. Beautiful thing.
Yeah, that is an important lesson. I think a lot of people want to script out their lives and their opportunities, right? To know exactly what to expect. I think that's the beautiful part of life, is if you just trust the process. I think believing in yourself is a huge part of this. You believe in yourself, trust the process. It will work
Mm-hmm.
out. We just don't know how exactly it's going to work out, but it usually does. And I think the believing in yourself component is probably the most, underused, or underemphasized piece. I think, and everyone's looking outside themselves, looking for a belief system outside themselves. They're looking for someone else to believe in themselves. But if you don't believe in
Mm-hmm.
yourself, no one else will. And I think,
Of
to me,
course.
that's what I've learned the most, is like, we have to believe in ourselves. Otherwise, you have no shot.
Yeah, of course. We watch. It's funny. We watched last night with Jeannie and I, and we watched our moms. We watched the 1974 Stanley Cup, the sixth game. The final when we
Yeah.
won 1-0. Think about this.
Yeah.
And when you look, and I share that's something else too. I share with people. The odds, they had Bobby Orr, Esposito, and all those guys. They had fantastic team. We were an expansion team for 7 years, right? We had never won in Boston in 7 years, and Boston had the home ice advantage, and the odds had to be 50-1 against us, at least 50-1 to win the Stanley Cup, and we won. We won because we believe in ourselves, and the most important thing is we won as a team. And you play sports, and one thing you learn as a kid in sports, that if you want to win, you want to be successful, you have to be part of a team. It's not that I do it, it's we do it, as a team. And then eventually you grow up in life. If it's not in sports, but in the world of business, it's always the same pattern. You have to be surrounded by good people
Yeah,
if
that's
you
the
want to
truth.
win.
The importance of team. Hey, it's she's, I know it sounds cliche when you talk about it, but I've never won a Stanley Cup. I won a couple of, minor league championships, but just that energy that you can't quantify when it's really a true team is something special, and there's nothing really like it. There's a lot of individuals that are really great, and I've seen a lot of great players come and go. But that feeling of a real true team is hard to really capture into words, because it's just an
Mhm.
amazing feeling. I didn't
Yeah,
realize that you guys never won in Boston up until then.
yeah, yeah,
Never won
yeah.
in one game.
Never won. No,
Wow.
never did. How about that?
Wow,
Then
that
Boston,
is amazing.
yeah, Boston won the first game, and then second game we won in overtime. And maybe the fact we had a good goalie had a lot to do with this.
Of course, right?
But we won in overtime, and think about this: during the overtime, just before Clarkey scored a goal, Busick came on a breakaway, and thank you, Lord, I was able to make the save, and then we went back up, and that's when we scored. Clarkey I believe, got the first shot, and he got his rebound, and then put it in, and then the whole thing changed, because then psychologically, then everything changed for us. We knew we could beat them.
Yeah.
Made a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt. So what's it like watching that game? How many years later?
My
And
God, that's 46 years.
geez.
And watching the game, I said, "Who the hell is this guy in goal?" I'm watching this. I said, "My Lord, this is this is cool." It was the first time. Think about this, in 46 years, first time I ever watched a whole game.
Really?
You know,
Wow.
and you could see we had a good team, good coach. We were well coached, well disciplined, especially inside of our blue line.
Yeah.
And if you look, I think the shots were 30-26 for Boston, but a lot of those shots were from the angles, because we were disciplined to push the players, in that direction. And but I'm looking at this, and I said, then you saw Fred Sherrill behind the bench, and all the players, Barber, Clark, and then of course, to me was really the main reason we won against them was that that leadership that Clark brought to the team, which was just incredible. It was good.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
fun.
Two real tough teams too there. Hey, like, talk about old school old school hockey, not just the talent, but the grit, the toughness, and just I think those two teams, the Flyers and the Bruins, are notorious for being the baddest teams, the roughest teams, right? And some of
Hmm.
the best teams too. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised we only saw one fight in the game.
Really, yeah, I know, right?
In
Back then,
those days, yeah.
is a major
Yeah.
surprise.
Well, hey, let's face it, we had to win the game because I don't think I will never know, but I think it would have been very difficult to win the second game in Boston, which would have been the seventh game, you know. So
Yeah,
but when you look at this, you know, the winning the Stanley Cup, you know, first of all you skate on the ice. Clarkie called me over, you know, they called me Ben at the time. They said, "Hey Ben, come on, help me carry the Stanley Cup." So we skated, and you have to remember in those days that glass was only about 2 feet high along the boards, so everybody jumped on the ice, and you had Schultz in front of us, you know, hitting
clear
people
in
to
the
make sure
path.
that we had. Oh yeah, God, that was funny. That was funny. And then when we walk in the dressing room, you know, the celebration is just incredible. And I always bring this up, like a guy like Bill Gates, who's worth 100 billion, right? Can't buy that, man. You have to
Yeah.
earn it. It's a beautiful, beautiful. So grateful to have been part of that team. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, there's some things in life money can't buy, and that's one of them. Yeah, I remember seeing the footage there, and it was flooded with people on the ice and the chaos. I can't imagine the aftermath and the parade and the whole bit. Something special. You know, the fact
Uh,
that we'll continue to talk about this, forever, is that's how magical it was, and for you to be right there in the mix, and
mm,
the kind of the besides, with Clarkey, is the head of the snake there is something special. It's good stuff.
yeah, definitely. You know what? I remember the first year when we got drafted, 1967. They brought all the players to Philly to introduce us to the city. So they put us on the float, right on Broad Street, to introduce us to the city. We had about 25 players, and we had more people on the float than we had watching us. Nobody knew about the team. Yet 7 years later, we won the Stanley Cup. We had 2 million people. How about that?
That's
Beautiful
hilarious.
place to play.
Yeah, well, yeah. What a change, eh? So how did you land up in Philly? Were you part the expansion draft? Is that how you landed up in Philly?
Yeah. I played. I was in '65. I came in the league with the Boston Bruins, and guess what? My first game was in Chicago against Bobby Hull. Imagine that. And
Yeah,
I
right.
was only I was 19 years old, and it would come down across the blue line, big shoulders, you know how big he was, and it had curved blades a little bit, and between the blue line and the circle, he would wind up. I looked at him, he looked at me, everything became in slow motion, and I would pray, God, let him score so he would miss me. But we ended up tying the game 2-2. Yeah, that was that was a good thing. And then what really changed my career is 2-3 years later, I got traded to Toronto. You know, and um, and then I was disappointed, of course. But then when I got there, I realized that, hey, wait a second, I'm going to split the duties with my favorite goalie, Jacques Plante, who was my idol when I played. I mean, when I lived in Montreal, watching the games on Saturday, Saturday night, and I watch him play, right? And I watch him play, I watch him practice, and he was so good. So one day, because I was 24, I believe, 25, 24, 25, and Plant was 41 years old, so there was no competition. So I asked him if he could help me. He said, of course. So I learned the understanding of the game, left-hand shot, right-hand shot, how my defensemen, because they all play differently, how they would play them. And it helped me to position, to be at the right place at the right time when the guy shot, which it made it easier to make the save. And that changed my whole career. But I have shared this quick little story with you. The second year, at the end of the second year, if you remember, the World Hockey League came in to compete against the National Hockey League.
Right.
So one night I received a phone call from the league, the World Hockey League, and asked me if I would join them. And very, very important lesson here for a lot of people. And I thought about it for a while. Then I called them back and I said, sure, why not? And I said to myself, if it doesn't work out, what I had learned from Blount, I'll come back National Hockey League, then I'll be fine. It didn't work out, so I came back with which the rule was you have to go back to your original team, Toronto. So I went back to Toronto the same day they traded me back to the Flyers, and the next 2 years we won the Stanley Cup.
No way.
And I
Wow.
shared this with people because if I would have played it safe, nothing would happen, and for me anyway, in Philly when they won the 2 Stanley Cup.
No
So
kidding.
that's why I tell people, jump, take risk. If it doesn't work out, learn from it and move on. But most of the time, it works out now.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
No, that's amazing. I didn't know that either, how you landed back in Philly like that. Wow.
Mm.
Amazing. It all
So,
worked out for you.
it
So,
was a,
yeah, that's crazy. So you landed up ending your career with an eye injury. I actually just read that today. I did not know that. Um,
yeah,
how did
yeah.
that I mean, obviously, besides ending your career, how did that impact you emotionally, and the whole bit, knowing that that was the end of it?
Yeah, well, the way it happened began with is it was Jimmy Watson in front of the net with Don Maloney. It was against the Rangers. It was
Hmm.
an afternoon game, and they lost their balance. And the puck was going from my left to the right. As I turned around, a stick hit me in the right eye. And right away, I knew I had major problems. So skated off the ice and stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks because the shock affected the left eye. So I couldn't, I couldn't see. It was darkness for 2 weeks. Very, very scary. And one day it came back. Like the doctor said, we can't do anything right now. And but one day it came back. Good positive attitude.
Yeah.
It came back a little bit, and they said, "Okay, you're on your way," but not good enough to play. But the problem I had at the time was I wasn't ready to move on and live the same lifestyle as I did when I played. And, I didn't have any education, and I didn't know what to do then. And the Flyers were so kind that they kept me with the team, with the organization, as a goalie coach at the time, and did a lot of PR for them, and it worked out very good. But without the Flyers, it would have been very, very difficult.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and just culture shock to begin with the injury, and then to have to be forced to enter the real world with no real true plan. That's like
Mm.
that would be a different category of taking a risk, because that's, you just have no control over. So it's
Hmm.
obviously worked out for the Flyers, because you're still kicking and you're still doing amazing stuff with the Flyers. So it's unfortunate that it happened, but you do have your eyesight. There's obviously a million positives that come along
Hmm.
with it. The fact that they helped you out with the
Yeah,
job is super important.
yeah. When you look back, hey, good old Lord provided me with 15 years, 14, 15 years National Hockey League.
Right.
That's pretty good. And and then the end came, and sometimes maybe you need something like this to help you make a decision, and then to move on. And the uncertainty of the future is very scary at the time
Hmm.
because my philosophy was I should say as good as it is now, but I was always, without realizing it, always had that positive attitude, and that, like I said, the right people came in at the right place at the right time and helped me to move different directions with the hockey. Doing some PR for the Flyers and getting involved with other businesses, and it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, going back to the positive attitude, it's one of those things. If you didn't have that, and if you weren't a good character guy, that job opportunity would have never presented itself, I'm sure, just based on
Definitely,
who
yeah.
you are. But building off what you said there, the businesses stuff, like the way that everything's going these days, with so much opportunity with social media and building your brand while you're still currently playing. I mean, looking back, obviously you were 100% focused on the Flyers and win Stanley Cups, and I understand that completely. Do you see um, splitting hairs and possibly focusing on business ventures while you're still playing, or do you see that as a possible distraction, or can you do both? Because I know there's a lot of talk about guys building businesses and brands while they're still playing. So when this something like this does happen, where you're caught off guard, you have a career-ending injury, you have something to ease into versus not doing anything and then having nothing, and then maybe not having that coaching opportunity. So do you want to maybe talk to that?
Mm. That's a good point. It's a good question, and I think that the players are, although they make a lot more money than we did, they're a lot more prepared than we were in those days. In
Right.
those days, all you wanted to do was to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Okay, but when it's over, there's no more Stanley Cup. So you have to move on. And I've said that, not I have to. I want to say that people were so kind in the Delaware Valley to you, there's nothing wrong sometimes to ask for help,
Right.
and beautiful things, yeah, beautiful things that happen, but we weren't prepared. A lot of players, most players weren't prepared for the future as much as today. I think today they have, even from the National Hockey League, I believe they have counselors, to help players to invest their money and to prepare for when the end. It's a short career. You're
It is.
talking about maybe 12 years, 15 years if you're healthy. Now it's a short career, then you have to move on. And but having said that, you know what, being in Philly was a blessing because I met so many wonderful people that were they were there to help. They're there to help when you needed help, and without those people, it would have been very, very difficult.
Yeah, no, for sure. People, yeah, especially in Philly, that I can speak to is, in the moment, relationship building, and then after the fact, when I'm out of playing, that some of these people and these fans are still, still around and still supporting, and there if you need help is really amazing. And I think, going back to that conversation, I think whether you have the idea of building a business or brand in that moment, I think just being a good person, that positivity, whether you have a plan there in that moment or not, that will
Mhm.
that will follow you down the road. And whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then these people kind of
Mhm.
come around and resurface, if you're a good enough person to them. I think I've seen a lot of guys that,
Mhm.
have no time for fans, or, have no time to have these talks after games and stuff. And they
Mhm.
don't think anything of it. But I know for me personally, I've seen it kind of, to where you're explaining it, is that it's come full circle, and people kind of coming out of the woodworks and be like, oh yeah, I used to watch you with the Phantoms and Flyers, and I just love what you're doing, and I want to help out. So it's just amazing how just
Mhm.
a simple positive attitude and just a simple handshake, looking someone in the eye, how far that can
Yeah.
really take you down the road.
Just you just said the magic words. I remember when I was at beginning with the Flyers. I think it was 67, 68, and I was talking to Ed Snyder. That wonderful person.
Sure.
Now that we won the Stanley Cup because of him, because he made the commitment. In 1967,
Hmm.
and I was talking to him, and he interrupted me at one time, and he said, "From now on, when you talk to somebody so powerful," he said, "always look at them in the eyes."
Mm.
And I never forgot that. It has the really, throughout my life, throughout my career. Now, the one thing I want to share too quickly with you is when you step on the ice, you've had that feeling. You become a performer, just like a singer on the stage.
Mm.
You step on the ice, you become a different person, and then the crowd, the crowd we had in Philly was just incredible, and the enthusiasm we had from the crowd, it elevates you to a different level and makes you play a lot better. I was just you know, there's one word that I think um, we have we have to respect that one word, and we have to use it more often. Is grateful. Being
Mm.
grateful for what happened in my life. Be grateful what's going in now, and be grateful for my vision. And when you're grateful, beautiful things happen to you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I've been practicing gratitude for some time now. Knowing about it, but not really practicing it. And gratitude is a powerful energy. And when you're grateful for the good experiences and you're grateful for the bad experiences, I mean, you make sense of this life. And I, look at my career, and it's, yeah, nothing like yours, but grateful for all the struggles, grateful for my journey, grateful for all the punches to the head, grateful for
Mhm.
my one goal against the second best goalie to ever lace him up next to you, Carey Price. Because
Mhm.
without that, if I wasn't grateful for it, I wouldn't be able to, make peace with my past and move on and be able to take what I've learned into the next chapter of my life. But I see so many people have so many great things. They got a beautiful family and all these things going for them, and they just can't find a way to practice gratitude, and it essentially makes them unhappy.
Mhm.
And then that's the energy that they're emitting into the universe is unhappiness and
Of course.
ungratefulness. And it's unfortunate.
Mhm. Yeah, it works. It works well, So, so it's good. It's good to see you, man. You're looking good.
Yeah,
Life
man.
is
You
good.
too. You too. Why don't you tell us about a little project you got going on, a little teaser, the next 30
Yeah,
days or so.
well, yeah, little teaser. I did little piece. Um, First of all, Jeannie, you mentioned Jeannie, my wife. She's of your question a little bit. She's done such a tremendous job to keep me in front of the public. And her marketing skill is just incredible. Because let's face it, out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
And I think today, my God, I'm just maybe more popular in the world of hockey than when I played, for God's sakes. So it's a beautiful thing. Now she came up with this idea, and I can't talk too much about it because we're going to have a fantastic surprise for the people in about a month or maybe 5 or 6 weeks from now. But it's about food, and I think we're going to have fun with this, and when you have fun with things, then everything works out. So it's going to be good. And then I showed that little clip with my apron, the hat, and the chef. It's not Chef Bernie. You have to say, like in French, Chef Bernard. That's that's my thing. But we'll have fun, and we'll have more information when we meet again in about 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah,
I'm looking forward
that'll
to
be
seeing the
cool.
surprise and what you got cooking up there. But I think, what makes you so marketable, it wasn't the Stanley Cups, wasn't being arguably one of the best goalies to ever play. It's your spirit, it's your energy. You make everyone feel like $1 million. And I think, to me, that is the most powerful thing when you talk about marketing is yeah, forget the Stanley Cups, forget the Flyers logo. It's you. It's you as Bernie Perrant, outside of the uniform is, to me, is what's special, and then add that all on. It's an amazing package because that just beefs it up for true fans. But
Mm,
I love what you do. I love how you present yourself, carry
mm.
yourself, and I think that's why we kind of hit it off. The few times we've had some, heart to heart, deep conversations. So I appreciate you and all you do, really.
Thank, thank you, thank you. You're a good man, and we'll
Well,
see you soon. Eh?
absolutely,
Yeah.
Bernie. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll be in touch.